Members, it is time to make a start. We have a quorum. Item number 1, confirmation of the minutes of the third meeting held on October the 19th. We have received no proposed amendments. Can I take the minutes as confirmed? Thank you. Matters arising. Report on our meeting with the CS. Together with the Vice Chair, we told the CS that members expressed different views regarding the failure of the CE to answer questions following his address on 17th of October. The CS said that she would reflect members' views. In relation to our meeting and luncheon with the district councils, there will be a whole host of improvement measures to improve the effectiveness of these meetings. And also the CS made the point that the recent universally accessible environment scheme was in response to the district demands, and the principle of district issues resolved at district level would be the best way to deal with district matters. The CS also mentioned that a policy and project coordination office will be set up to support the cross-bureau policy matters and provide secretarial support for the Commission on Poverty and Population Policy Steering Committee. And this office will monitor the progress of various policy implementation and also provide coordination support in terms of land development. There will be 2 posts to be created, all supernumerary. One AOSGB, the other one is AOSGC, for the post of Director and Deputy Director. The CS would like to join us at the House Committee meeting on the 9th of November to talk about the poverty alleviation and also population policy, to all agree that we have a special meeting on November the 9th to meet the CS. Agreed? Right then, so the CS will appear for these 2 items. Business arising from previous council meetings. Legal advisor, please. Chairman, thank you. I have made available paper LS5/12 to 13 to members. This covers the 12th subsidiary legislation gazetted on the 19th of October, and also a TM, technical memorandum, under the air pollution control ordinance. There are 6 parts. The first one is the banking ordinance, in order to implement the first stage of requirement under Basel Committee. The first part is the commencement notice. It is specified that January the 1st, 2013 will be appointed for BAO to come into operation. As to the details, please refer to paras 3 and 4. The second one is in relation to capital adequacy ratio. The authorized institutions, basically banks, will be subject to certain capital ratio requirements. Now, this is rather complicated and technical. We are still looking into the details. This will come into effect on the 1st of January next year. The third one is the banking specification of Multilateral Development Bank Amendment Notice 2012. The MA specifies to be a multilateral development bank, the BC, or the to include the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, the MIGA, and there will be favorable treatment in this regard. On the 4th of June, at the FA panel, in relation to this Basel III legislative arrangement, members were briefed on the details. At the meeting, members expressed their concerns about the compliance costs in relation to this Basel III arrangement. As I said a moment ago, in terms of the capital ratio requirements, it is rather a lengthy amendment and it's rather technical. We're still scrutinizing the details. If necessary, we will submit a report to members. All right, of the three items, do you see the need for a subcommittee? If not, shall we move on to the next one, Jimmy? Part 2 is about the double taxation relief. The Chief Executive in Council, through these two orders, announced that Hong Kong enter into agreement with Malaysia and Mexico regarding the double taxation relief. Hong Kong and other jurisdictions enter into these agreements before, and this is 24th and the 25th on the 14th. This will go into effect on the 14th of December. According to our record, the relevant panel, or FA panel, hasn't quite discussed this item. Do you see the need for a subcommittee for these two items? If I may put this to the legal advisor, the criteria for waiver, are they the same as those for previous agreements? Legal advisor, we are approaching these from the same angle. We didn't spot anything different. In terms of the transfer of personal information, all the safeguards are the same. James Toh? These would have profound implications. I think we should have a look at the undertakings given, like the transfer of information, the model text. We have to scrutinize the details to identify any deviations. All right, you propose an SC. Any members wishing to join? Any objection? Mr. Toh? All right, there will be circulation of invitation. Jimmy? Part 3, under the Telecommunication Ordinance, the Communications Authority can elect all these regulations. First, the megahertz 2635 to 2600 will be subject to payment of fees, and this will be done by way of an auction. Members may wish to refer to Para 28. Commencement date is going to be the 14th of December. Subcommittee? Charles Mock? Chairman, I propose a subcommittee for officials to join us for some briefings. Or any objection? Who would like to join? Mr. Mock, you'd like to join? Alright, anybody else? Alright, there will be further circulation of invitations. And next, Jimmy. Part 4, Chairman. There are 4 commencement notices under the Lifts and Escalators General Regulation. Chairman, these commencement notices are there to tie in with the policy objective of phased implementation. For the uncommenced provisions, the December 17th and 13th of April will be the implementation or commencement days, and also December the 17th we see the implementation of some of the provisions. All the details are set out in paras 31 to 34 for members' information. For the commencement dates, for these regulations, our record shows that they have not been taken to the development panel for any discussion. Subcommittee? All right then. You don't see the need. Let's move on to the next lot. Part 5, Chairman, or rather the mediation ordinance commencement notice. 1st of January will be appointed for the notice for the ordinance to come into effect. When the legislation was enacted, there was a timetable. Members were aware of the details. Subcommittee. Sit hold. During the scrutiny period, in terms of the qualifications of the mediators and the rules governing them and so on were discussed, although we didn't have a clear prospect of this coming about. I urge a subcommittee to be formed so that the administration will bring us up to date about whether there is any possibility of monopolization or any restrictions on the mediators and so on. Any objection? Who would like to join sit hold? All right, there will be further circulation of invitations. Next, Jimmy. The last part of Part 6, we call this a non-legislative instrument. This is not really subsidiary legislation per se, and this is put together, or the TM, Technical Memorandum under the Air Pollution Control Ordinance. In the principal ordinance, the executive authority has a mechanism of monitoring which is like the subsidiary legislation, and this has to be submitted to LegCo for scrutiny. During the scrutiny period, there can be amendments to be made. The commencement date has to be a day after the expiry of the scrutiny period. The title is Third Technical Memorandum for Allocation of Emission Allowances in respect of specified licenses, and this is issued by the Secretary for Environment. There are 3 specified pollutants: sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and respirable suspended particulates. This is allocated from the emission year of 2017. The allowances are reduced from those allowed under the second TM issued in 2010. The standard has been upgraded. In this TM, it is further specified that there will be a review on a biennial basis. The government consulted the 2 power companies regarding this and secured their support. Members may wish to refer to Para 7 of the LegCo brief for further background information. As for discussions in LegCo, Para 43 and 44 have summarized all the details of the discussion. So much I have to say. Mr. Sin Chung Kai.
Mr. Chairman, I think this is very technical, and this affects Hong Kong as it's about emission. So I suggest a subcommittee be set up. Any objection? Who would like to join? All right. All right, we continue to circulate the form. I'd like to remind members that the deadline for amending these subsidiary legislation, or the TM, is the 21st of November or the 12th of December if extended by resolution by the Council. Mr. James Tin. Now, about Part 1, about banking ordinance, if Basel III isn't implemented until the 1st of January 2013, and then the implementation of all the phases won't be completed until 2019, Then, according to what I heard from banks in Hong Kong, they will not implement the rules for the time being. But I suggest that we should set up a subcommittee. Any objection? Who would like to join? Mr. James Tain, Mr. Sin Chung Kai, Mr. Leung Sing. All right. It will be continue to be circulated. Next item on the agenda. Further business for the Council meeting of the 31st of October 2012. Now about the questions, Dr. Kenneth Chen has replaced his oral question. Next item, business for the Council meeting of the 7th of November 2012. 6 oral and 14 written questions have been scheduled for the meeting. No first reading and moving with second reading of bills, no government motion. As for members' motions, there are 2 motions. One moved by Ms. Sip Ho on equal rights for people of different sexual orientations, and the other moved by Mr. Wong Kwok Hing. And that is a motion to address housing needs. Now, the deadline for giving notice of amendments, if any, to the motions is the 31st of October. A list containing 6 items of subsidiary legislation, the period for amendment of which will expire on the 7th of November. And members are reminded that if you intend to speak on the subsidiary legislation, you have to give notice to the Secretariat by 5 p.m. the 30th of October. Next, report of bills committees and subcommittees. It has been circulated among members. Now, report of the Subcommittee on Public Health and Municipal Services Ordinance, Public Pleasure Grounds, Amendment of 4th Schedule No. 2, Order 2012. Chairman of the Subcommittee, Ms. Ho, please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subcommittee held one meeting and invited representatives from the administration and the Chief Executive Officer of the WKCD Authority to explain the matter to us. Now, the legislation involved is very simple. The West Kowloon Waterfront Promenade is to be removed from the schedule in the public pleasure grounds. But the consequence is that the set of rules applied to public pleasure grounds by the LCSD will no longer apply. And the recommendation is that the WKCD would take up the management. And according to the WKCD ordinance, the WKCD authority has the power to draft its own subsidiary draft its own rules, but they have there has yet been a subsidiary legislation. So the management will be governed by a set of temporary measures, which are not rules, and we will have to wait for the subsidiary legislation to be enacted before the formal rules can be drafted. And at the subcommittee meeting, we had the consensus that such arrangement was not satisfactory, because usually when we handle provisions, it should be replaced by a new piece of legislation rather than by rules privately formulated. So on Monday at 11 a.m., we're going to have a meeting with the administration and consider their reply. All right, any questions? If not, position on bills committees and subcommittees. Paper number CB bracket 272/1213. There are 5 subcommittees under the House Committee. 5 altogether in action. All right, if there are no questions, next item, election of members of the Legislative Council Commission. The Secretariat yesterday issued a paper, and Mr. Kwan-yuen has withdrawn this nomination. So no voting is necessary today. And members of this commission comprises myself, Ms. Emily Lau, Mr. Abraham Shek, Mr. Wong Ting Kwong, Ms. Sit Ho, Mr. Chan Kin Po, Mr. Yip Kwok Him, Mr. James Tin, Mr. Lang Sing, Mr. Charles Mok, and Dr. Kenneth Chan. Next item, proposal to set up a subcommittee under the House Committee to study issues relating to members' remuneration and operating expenses reimbursement. Paper number AS 55/1213. In fact, the members are invited to consider the proposal for setting up a subcommittee under the House Committee to deal with the outstanding matters raised during the fourth term of the Legislative Council. Any views from members? Chairman, I support the proposal. We have been talking about this issue for many years. I hope that a subcommittee can be set up with representatives from all the political parties. We'll follow up on this matter. Any objections? No. Who would like to join? Assembly Lau? All right, we'll continue to circulate the list. Any other business? I have no other business. All right, thank you, members. Meeting's adjourned.